Today, we're diving into peak Evernote. Now, you probably don't know what peak Evernote is because I've completely made it up. It's basically when I think Evernote peaked, and there might be future peaks and other people might have different opinions, but 2013 and 14 was biggest hype Evernote for me, and I just want to take a look back at a few things that made peak Evernote and dive a little bit more into that. So I'm excited to roll into today's video. Before we begin, if you do fancy checking out our upcoming application Bento, you can sign up for early access in the link in the description. Little shameless plug here, but you can find that up below. Peak Evernote, what is it? What is peak Evernote? I think we have to start with what were called the EC events, and they were basically conferences, a little bit like how Apple does WWDC events, where they do software releases. And honestly, I remember I swear they were around like February time. My timeline's probably awful, but I remember just like having to wait up after school and just watching these events and being like, why am I such a weird child? But basically, this fella on screen here, Phil Libin, would dig into the latest features that Evernote were released. What was amazing about what Phil did is he brought this like really great community leadership to a product role. And for me, he's definitely probably all-time, one of the all-time sort of leaders, in my opinion. I mean, this is the thing. I don't know what he was like business-wise, but I definitely found him like an amazing community leader. But we'll come back to Phil later. This was one of the events where they released Work Chat, and if anybody remembers Work Chat,
cool because now
wow,
he knows that I'm.
I mean, nobody used it, but it was still really cool to have it.
That's kind of interesting, right? Because people love it.
I remember at one point, I would like try and convince. I don't know whether I could try to convince my friends or my sisters to only communicate with me on Evernote Work Chat. That's how that's how dedicated I got into the product. This was another huge release that they did in 2014, Context. And what they did with Context was they basically introduced a sort of thing that would pull in ideas and thoughts from other Evernote notes or articles and bring them into the bottom of your Evernote notes. And it was a really neat feature at the time, and really cool in terms of helping you to sort of plan things. I really wonder where Evernote would be in the future if we still had this progress. It would be mental. Apart from Evernote Food, which was an absolute treat. Oh my god, conferences give me such great vibes. Their EC 2013, I think, was the one where they released a brand new web version, and they made it look like the cleanest version of them all. And that for me was probably one of the best events they've ever done. Now, Evernote also had this video called Their Life's Work, and I absolutely loved this video. It really represented for me like such a great, well put together video about a company. And about sort of use cases. Obviously, I had Tim Ferriss in it, which at the time was like a big hype, being quite young and impressionable. And also, like, what I loved about it, I almost used to put this on repeat because of the way that it sort of covered the product so nicely. I don't know whether anyone ever saw this Todoist feature where they did your life's achieve more every day.
From sorting through email,
it was brilliant, and everything from the music to the feature and the product, even the and the sort of ending was absolutely stunning. You'll have to watch this.
But we know we'll get.
I already gave it a thumbs up back in the day, but when I was starting Todoist, I absolutely fell in love with this video. Weird, isn't it? So obviously another thing that I loved about Evernote was something called the Evernote market, and apparently there was good things about it and bad things. I heard that it didn't do very well collectively, but basically it was a place where you could find like Evernote products. Like they had everything from bags to branded post-it notes to, collaborations with other companies. jot script stylus, the Fujitsu scan snap and things like that, and it was just the most amazing place. And I remember when they did release it, I remember there was a Coat and CL bag that I at the time was trying to save up for, like using my paper round money. It was absolutely mental. But I can't believe it sort of tanked after this. But I think this video really is more of like a dedication to Phil Libin. Phil Libin was such a good CEO for me, such a good community person. He's actually working now at a company called and I found out about them about last year. It's basically like a sort of, how do you best describe it? Like a video tool for creating videos, but easily without any of the sort of stress of editing. But he actually hosts a little thing on YouTube called Ask Phil Anything. I really want Phil Libin on, but thing is, I know he won't talk about Evernote these days, probably just because he's talking about which makes total sense. But like, he was just the man, the legend. I feel like I should just do a dedication video to Phil. Such an impressionable character on my childhood. There's people who like go, this person changed my life. I'm like, Phil Libin changed my life. But I mean, the Evernote conferences really just did it. Like the way that he presented, like you just have to see this clip.
Evernote cares about you. We want you to be productive. We want you to do the best work that you can do. We want to be your workspace. But what we realize now is that it's not enough to just be my workspace, because most of what I do involves other people. So we want Evernote to become our workspace. We want you to be able to communicate and collaborate fully within Evernote. And we've made attempts at this before. We have sharing in Evernote now, but we design those features, the current implementations of those features, the same way we designed the web client. We designed them kind of out of fear, without a strong opinion about exactly what the experience should be like. And they're kind of clunky.
What a legend. I mean, just the way he explains problems and sort of goes into solving them. Huge. Brilliant guy. So hopefully you found this video cool. Pink Evernote. I can't believe I'm doing this video, but I think it was just a nice nostalgic feel for me. I know it feels like a not a lot longer ago. It's been almost 10 years since sort of peak Evernote, but realistically it actually feels like an age ago for me, but actually it's not that long ago collectively. So it's really weird to look back and go, wow, this is what Evernote looked like almost 10 years ago. But wow, I feel like some companies could really do this in the future, just sort of bring to life their app using someone like Phil. We need a Phil for this channel. We need a Phil to make a Phil Libin spot for this channel. Anyway, folks, hopefully you enjoyed this video, had a bit of a laugh for me, had a bit of a look back. Feel free to subscribe if you're new, share your comments about Evernote and sort of peak Evernote. When was your peak Evernote? I'd love to hear. But a big thank you, folks, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon. Cheerio.